overclockers. Welcome. Oh, screw this. Where's EPIC when you need him?
And good afternoon, Epic Land! Hello, hello. So we're here, EPIC39, here at Wolverhampton Racecourse, powered by Intel, with our sponsors, Overclockers, Noble Chairs, MSI, and Draytech. Now, as you can see, in the hot seat, we have someone very, very different to who I've been casting with today. Lovely, lovely Zach. Nice to meet you. Give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself, because you are not from Valorant, are you?
Yeah, I was going to say, probably sick out like a sore thumb coming into this. But yeah, been over in CSGO, so I've been casting the CSGO streams, been some lovely stuff over there, and thought, you know what, I've got a bit of free time. Why not jump into Valorant as well? I've heard it's been pretty good so far,
exactly.
So I thought, why not?
Exactly. Dip your toes in, get a bit of experience with everywhere. How has CSGO been going?
Honestly, it has been wonderful the whole way through. So there's been a few upsets here and there. If you've not been tuning in at home, then go do it. Obviously not now, because we've got some Valorant to go. But yeah, there's been some really good games so far. Some upsets here and there as well. But generally, we're seeing the teams that we would expect in that upper bracket. Lower bracket, though, has been absolutely unreal so far. So really a lot to tune in for there.
Well, there we are. So if you ever have a bit of free time after some of the Valorant games today, feel free to check out CSGO because, like I said, Zach says they are whipping up a storm out there. So we have got Yari Esports versus Bleak today. So these two teams are the favourites to go all the way to the finals, and Bleak is the one that everyone has been saying that are going to win it. That is probably because the majority of Bleak players are from Focus. They are a Polaris level team. Normally they're not even allowed to be playing in EPIC39 because of how that falls within the Beacon calendar, so they don't even get a shot. So after talking to some of the teams on the very first day, on the Thursday, they are very excited that they got an opportunity to play together, and they are very, very happy to be here. And honestly, the score line is showing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it the whole way through, just how much they've dominated across this event so far. They have been unreal as a team. Really, a lot of team play, playing very well, both as individuals and as a team altogether, which, you know, when you're in a competition which has been filled mostly with mixed teams here, when you have that kind of cohesion as well, that's really where teams start to prosper. So, yeah, been very, very good watching Bleak. I sort of tuned into a few and seen them wreck face for a lot of the time that they've been going.
Yes, yeah, I mean, like, looking through their scoreline, so in the group stages on yesterday, they did not lose a single game. I mean, they are the favourites, but they just put on such a dominating performance. I mean, I think the closest game they had was a 13-9 win over Skelp, and that was the closest one. So it's not like even went the full distance through overtime. Every single scoreline just ended at 13, but 9 was the closest that they got.
You see these teams as well. In a best-of-1 series, you have to say, you expect a team to potentially drop a map at some point. The fact that they went through clean is unreal as far as their determination and team play goes.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of clean, both teams have gone through clean through the upper bracket so far. So in the group stages, Bleak versus Yari, obviously it's going to happen. They all played each other, but it was 13-6 to Bleak. So on paper right now, Bleak is looking like they're going to be going all the way to winning. But Yari, it's a best of 3.
Yeah.
You never know what happens. I mean, I was saying this to Mido in our first game with Control versus Gedalians. 13-4, Control won, but then in the best of 3, it was like 13-11 both maps, so anything can happen.
Absolutely.
And it is very, very exciting stuff. So
yeah, and as well, in a best of 1, you get to band down to a map that both of you want to play on. Yeah. Whereas best of 3, at least you get a little bit of your own style in there. You're not just counter-stratting against the other team. You get your own strats. You get to play your own game a little bit more.
Exactly.
So yeah, it should be a lot more open, I guess, in a best of 3
yes,
series.
Yeah, so I know, obviously, with how much of a high caliber Bleak is, I'm really hoping like either team will just give us some spicy picks. So obviously, coming from CS:GO, you don't have all these agents with all these abilities and all these dashings and movements, and it's for you. Your comfort ground is very much boots on the ground, throw a grenade here and there, and just click heads.
The only button we have is to slow down in CS. You press shift and you go slower. So yeah, a little bit different.
See, that is a button in Valorant. Doesn't get used too much.
Use it.
But so today is going to be probably a little bit of a different ball game to what you're used to, but it is going to be fun nonetheless, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you on here. So I think when we've got the green light, I think we're ready to go. But it's going to be very, very interesting because it would be a massive upset if Yari took this upper bracket series right now from Bleak and sending them into the lower brackets. That does mean Bleak will have to go through the lower brackets, but they're more than likely to make their way through. But it will be an upset nonetheless, so it's something we have to be keeping an eye out for. Like we said, best of 3s, things can happen, and Yari Esports, they do have an opportunity to obviously give themselves some rounds.
And as well, I think we said, if we're going to be realistic before the stream as well, and before the game jumps in, I think one of the things we were talking about before is just how whichever team loses, they're not out of the competition. They still drop into the lower brackets, and they would be favourites throughout that as well. So, so if Yari, even if it doesn't go Yari's way across this one, and we talk about this, Yari at least have kind of that safety net, I guess, if they are, you know, as underdogs, if they do drop down, if they do go into that lower bracket, we expect to see them in the final anyway. So realistically, this one is more for the easier path through, not having to wake up earlier to try and get to go through the lower finals. So, you know, I think, to be honest, looking at this, it's a lot of it is about pride as well today, and showing up, especially since we consider both of these two teams likely to make it all the way through. it sets a precedent for kind of the strats they might use in the future. It'd be really interesting to watch this one because you guarantee that the coaches, that the IGLs are going to be looking through these games afterwards and saying, okay, this is what we have to do different in this 100%. One for every single round they lose, 100%. Regardless of who wins.
Exactly, yeah, 100%. It's like you said, this game is like somewhat of a precedent for the finals. Like you said, we both know, and so do the players who I've been talking to. They all have been saying Yari and Bleak are the ones to look out for. So this is going to start painting an outline on the canvas that could be the portrait of the finals that we could be seeing tomorrow. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it goes. So I think probably enough chit chat. We'll go into the map veto and start talking about the map bans and everything that they have been having, because then it will start determining like some of the agents that we're going to be seeing. So the first 2 bans are Split and Haven. So you know what? I am not against this Haven ban. Haven has been a very, very popular map throughout this entire series. So seeing it banned is a very nice refresher. And Ascent as well. I have yet to cast an Ascent game, and Ascent is such a nice, just bare, like I say bare bones, but a nice, just good standard map. It honestly is probably one of the maps that will be more familiar to you in terms of how it feels from like CS:GO.
Yes.
Like mid control and just like your standard main on either side, and your mid try to take control. That'll probably be like the most comfortable map.
Big Mirage vibes.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly. I was just about to say Mirage. Yeah, there we are. And then Bind is another good one. I really enjoy Bind. Bind has a few different opinions depending on who you ask, but all in all, my personal preference, I do enjoy Bind. I do enjoy seeing Bind picks. Fracture, thank God that is gone. I think a lot of us can come to the consensus that Fracture just sucks.
Well, very strong opinions here.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. When you've got the defenders in the middle, and you can attack from both sides, so you can automatically produce a pincer attack on a defense where people have to split off. You could 3-2 on one side, and then there'll be a 2-3 on either side, and then all of a sudden it just becomes a sandwich that the defenders kind of just
heavy rotations that just become, you know, when you see it in any map, I think regardless of the game, you want to be able to see a stronghold from a team, and it is always based on the rotations. Fracture, I mean, we saw it in the last best of 3 that was on stream as well.
Exactly,
Fracture was on.
Yeah, I mean the only like positive, if you were to pick Fractures for the defenders, is how short they need to rotate between the sites, which obviously makes sense, because like if attackers can attack from both sides, then you need to give them some little bit of leverage in order to pick up their feet, and then like the attackers have to, if they want to rotate, they have to just hike a mile all the way around. Pearl going away, so that's obviously it's not too bad. Pearl is an alright map, don't mind it. So
Yeah, and then of course we got Lotus as the final map as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that is very, very nice. So Lotus is probably the favoured out of the 2 3-sided maps. So it's one that is always exciting as well. So going straight into Ascent, the instant KO picks. So obviously you've dabbled in Valorant a little bit before. So I don't know if you were around when KO was out.
I was.
Okay, so perfect. He's basically just CS:GO incarnate.
Yes.
So he will turn everyone into a CS:GO player with some of his abilities. So let's just hope they pop off, and you will be right.
And then I'm right at home.
Exactly.
Like I didn't even leave the other stream.
It just got more colourful.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that's psyching me out a bit is seeing Jet on the screen. Obviously, Jet. Literally the antithesis, I think, of CS in the way that she's
against everything you stand for.
All speed, everything. The only thing she has is smokes. That's the only familiar part.
And even then, they're up for 3 seconds. And they just dissipate. So we are going to be going for a pretty similar matchup. No, you know what? It's a mirror matchup. So because we're going to be going into those mirror matchups, both teams, they're going to have pretty similar strats of how they're going to be interacting with the map and how they're going to be interacting with each other. And now it's all going to be coming down to those micro plays, those micro managements of how they're going to be executing everything. So those small little bits that can give either side an edge, those are what's going to be really, really counting. So we're going to have Bleak on the defense first, while we're having Yari Esports on the attack. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So just like, how do you think things are going to be going? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be asking you crazy, in-depth questions, but just from what we've been talking about and from what I've been seeing on paper.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the 2 teams, I think I said it already, and I want to come into this one as the realist rather than throwing things up in the air. I think when you're talking about maps, and I can't speak specifically for this one exactly what the score is going to be, but I think most probably watching at home, and I think even the teams themselves will be thinking 2-0 to Bleak across this sort of choice. I mean, the map bans are obviously important, but when you have sort of a team of this caliber taking part, I mean, you said it before, normally they wouldn't be allowed in. That's sort of the level that they're playing at is just that level ahead, exactly, right? So these Bleak players, it's quite kind of exciting to see them in this setting. It very much does depend on how Yari approach this as the attackers. I'd like to see sort of some heavy mid control come out from them, try and kind of aggress in towards that sort of position, and then obviously pick the site based off that.
Yes, yeah, that is what we're hoping so. So Jamie and Jam, the two players of Focus of Bleak, they literally just changed their names for this event just to fit in with the rest of the Focus players.
Lovely.
They want to, be with the crowd and go undetected. So as we get things underway, we're looking like we're going to be going for a quick push through Catwalk, and now Yari Esports is taking very, very fast control of Catwalk as now Ianto preps that tailwind to just get straight into tree and the recon bolt, as well as the fragment coming out trying to zone any of the plays, but your boy Lewis falls down instantaneously, and now Ianto dashes straight over to Generator, but is swatted down like a fire, and Jimmy finds a headshot onto Bennett of themselves, but Walty is there to take out Lyman. Oh, what a lovely, lovely one tap onto Walty's skull, and Daki there to take out Jamie. Now it's a 2v2 situation, 1v1, 1v0, and Focus, I've said Focus, Bleak, they just clean up house.
Yeah, Thorn in the side playing underneath there with Lime, just difficult to deal with, and with players just hiding in those positions. Yari Esports folded relatively quickly pushing forward. It's one thing taking the site, it's another thing keeping it, and Bleak doing a very solid job of taking it back.
Yeah, I really liked how Jamie's played. Like, because he was holding A main, he heard all those footsteps going straight down Catwalk, and he left site to go towards more of the attacker spawn and just allowing Bleak, Yari to just get straight on, giving them the space, and he could just be there for the flank.
Smart play, really smart play.
Now we do have that one way being prepped and ready just in case anyone decides to walk into Jamie's smoke. But Ianto once again taking control of tree, but is going to get spotted by the turret. Now as that dissipates, a few pop shots coming out. Jamie finds the headshot onto Sophie and a lovely, lovely shot onto Ianto, and Jamie, his bite is bigger than the bark, but unfortunately he's going to fall into the hands of Bennett, and Jam is there for the trade as the updraft comes out. Operation Flying Squirrel not able to find his mark, and Darky finds two with the Sheriff, but your boy Lewis is there for the trade, and Daki was looking really, really good there.
I was convinced he was going to get more than Panda. I was convinced. And that's, I mean, it's going to do a little bit of damage to the economy as well at Bleak, who would have wanted to go into this one as sort of a free round and take those weapons through. Losing those is going to really hit it and mean that, really, Yari far more likely to win this playing against, Sheriffs and half armor on Jamie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, even though the economy for Bleak it looks good, but because of Daki's performance, he was able to hinder them to have the ability to fall by. So, going into this, Yari just have the upper hand straight away, but that doesn't mean that Bleak are going to be going down without a fight. I mean, we know how good they are.
Was that a classic in mid? Just sat there with the pistol, holding from that range on line?
Maybe no. I think they switched out just to destroy the recon bolts.
Right.
In order to just take it out. Don't want to waste any of the precious bullets because some of the guns have had magazine there, so they've got one less clip. So they've got to be a bit more conservative, and conservative is the name of the game as Yari Esports is playing so much more slower. Spotted by the turret, and now there's a few shock bolts coming out from Waddle. Sees the head and a lovely headshot through the door frame from Sophie. Really, really nicely done.
It is just a classic. Lime has only a classic in this round.
Oh, he got himself a Guardian now. I think it's just because of the economy. He just could not afford, but he can afford it now over his friend's dead body. And now, all of a sudden, everything has just come to a screeching halt. Dark cover coming out. Focus not able to find anything, and Sophie making the way through, but you can see now
30 seconds left.
that Bleak are slowly converging over onto the side as it's less than 30 seconds left on the clock. Yari have to do something. Ianto dashes through. Jam with the Sheriff finds one. Can they find another? Oh, and a firing squad was lined up for Sophie as Lime and Jam find the kills that they need, and Lime gets himself a 3K closing out the Guardian for Bleak Esports. They close out the round.
Huge damage as well. That one Vandal that was picked up had done insane damage to Yari, and the time that was left on the clock, I understand leaving it late, but 20 seconds left on the clock. They know that they're going to be playing against, you know, people with swarm grenades. They've got you can't leave it that late when you're pushing into a site in that way. Bleak are always going to have the upper hand in that situation, and it's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, it's just like Bleak, they didn't commit too much of the utility straight away. Like sometimes most teams would just commit a lot of utility once they've heard some information, but no, Bleak played so patiently, waiting for the fragment grenade, the nano swarm molotov to just be there, ready and waiting for when Yari decide to make their way through. And Lewis holding catwalk and so patient on the trigger discipline, finds Ianto's forehead. And unfortunately he's painting a pretty picture around the other, but it doesn't even matter because he's just found 2 kills. And your boy Lewis falls down to the hands of Walty, but Jam is there to take out Bennett, and it's all up to Wolsey in a 1v4 situation. Can they clutch it with an ace? Finds one. Can they find another? Sees the head through the smoke, but it doesn't even matter because Lime, in classic fashion, takes him out.
Just doing the same work over and over again, and KO there. Huge plays on short, just incredible to shoot down those players in mid, and wow, I mean the headshot potential there was unreal.
That was honestly, despite the situation that Walty was in, valiant effort, really well played. But the trigger discipline from Lewis though, because he could have taken that shot straight away, but he waited a couple seconds, and then we saw on that kill feed him just lighting up, and oh my goodness, lovely stuff. And look at this, Lime taking position on the top of wall there at the back of site with the operator as well, so if any unfortunate individual decides to walk through, they are just going to be meeting across it. But he's opted to just drop down, you know, just anticipating that there's going to be a rotate. And this is a very fast reposition. Lime taking middle just to see if anyone decides to make their way through into mid market, but Yari Esports, they're spreading themselves quite wide, just trying to feel out Bleak and trying to see if they can get any information before they decide to execute an attack. They are looking like they are going to be favouring this A side attack with the spike being over there. And now Lime could be meeting Bennett. They know that someone is around there, and Waddle is making their way over just to back them up, but they are going to be rotating, and Ianto finds the open kill onto Lewis, and Waddle, a few shots whiffed there, but it doesn't even matter because down Ianto falls, and Daki gets a lovely headshot onto Jamie there by Generator. Tailwind is being prepped, 1 shot, 1 miss, and now Walty prepping. And now the Null command comes out. We are down to playing CSGO. This is your bread and butter, Zach. Now Daki finds one onto Lime.
Jam coming in from heaven, still waiting, playing it slow, does get the kill on Bennett, and Waddle as well, finding Daki, looking for a little bit more as Sophie hiding in the corner finds one. 2 versus 1 left for Jam, who's considering defusing the bomb but doesn't see anything. The swarm grenade goes down, and I think this might be all for this round because just looking for the kills, they don't seem to be coming at the moment, and that ult coming through as well is basically going to call it. Jam stuck in the corner as Sophie finds it, a lovely little headshot, and Yari get there first on the board.
That was really well played from Yari there. Really nice execution. They find those crucial picks, and I think the null command from Daki just preventing Lewis being able to use any of his abilities, just kept him in place. I mean, Jet is really strong with the operator, but she's only really strong because she has that dash. To be able to reposition with like a jail free card and just being able to shut that down really cost Bleak that defense. And yeah, putting Jam in that sticky situation, I mean, they just buttered him up and just ate him up for lunch.
Now, Panda, I feel you would be more equipped for this than I am, but the Odin picked up there on one of these players playing short. Is that a standard play?
So, typically when you're running like a Sova, especially on Ascent, you'll have them, and once they've found some information, you can use the Odin to spray through the wall, because there are some parts where only the Odin and the operator can actually shoot through. Vandal, Sheriff, and the Phantom can't make their way through it. So from the shadows, coming out, just finding a little bit of information, but not able to find much. But yeah, there's Waddle spraying Sophie down with the Odin. Absolutely disgusting, and 1 shot, 1 miss from line with the operator is not doing him any favors, but using the tailwind to just dash out, and Lewis finds 2 but falls down. But it's a 1v4 situation, and unfortunately, Daki, Jam, falls down.
And after such a good round in the last one, with Yari winning that 2v1, Bleak, they've come back on them massively. I mean, to take that one in the way that they did, what, 3-4 players staying alive there, it's got to be a bit brutal for the Yari Esports guys. The one benefit they've got, I guess, is that they are able to buy into this one as well. They, kind of playing that standard meta with the half armor and the Vandal up, and they're playing, of course, still against a setup that it looks a little bit vulnerable in areas, so there's promising signs for them.
Yeah, that they are. And here is Waddle doing the classic Sova recon dart. So they'll throw that, and once they find some information, if they spot someone, it's all guns blazing. Yeah, and there it is. There's the shots. Not going to be able to find anyone. Spike being left all the way back in the lobby of A for the attacker's side. And it's going to be a much, much slower play. Lime just getting an updraft just to see over the smoke, just to see if they can see anyone. Aldrin coming out, spots Bennett there in the corner, and oh, there comes a spray. Not able to find anything, not able to shoot through that section of the wall. And Lewis finds an opening kill on Tianto. Jamie blinded. Oh, Lewis finds one, finds two. What a lovely, lovely headshot straight into the dome of Walty and Daki. They find four. Can he find themselves the ace? It's all down to Bennett. Bennett is the last bastion for Yari Esports. A miracle has got to be pulled out, and then oh, a lovely, lovely pop flash coming out from Lewis there. Very, very reminiscent of CSGO there, Zach. And oh, he finds himself the ace. What a wonderful round. 6-1 to Bleak Esports, and I could not have seen a better display of VALORANT if I could try.
Huge from the Bleak IGL, finding all 5 kills in that round. And coming from CS, even I know that an ace is good. Your boy Lewis just ultimately decimating the Yari Esports push. Well, when you're playing against that, you've got to wonder how much room can you actually get in this game.
Oh my goodness, not a single room to breathe for Yari Esports. My goodness, I mean, I know this was going to be a tough one for them, but my goodness, this is not what they wanted at all. Here comes the spray, finds one warband. That is such a deadly recon arrow. This is what I was telling you. And here, oh, Waddle just repositioning himself, not going to get spotted. Oh, sprays through, Focus managing to find a kill onto Daki through the smoke. Oh, that's lovely. Jam finding 2 for themselves. So if you get a kill onto Waddle, shutting down that Odom, it doesn't even matter because Sophie is there. Great.
Okay, pushing through that smoke in that way. Well, he's still alive. Oh, okay. The classic DM at the very end, the right click as well to finish it off. Bleak are dominating at the moment.
Oh my goodness, I really, really admired Lime's effort to just fly up into the air. I like to call it Operation Flying Squirrel. Not quite hitting the no-scope, but they followed up with the classic right click. And now, thanks to that, all 5 ultimates for Bleak are up.
They had 4 last round as well. They just didn't use them.
Oh my god! Okay, right. Fair enough. It's just rubbing salt into the wound. They didn't even need to use the ultimates. But now that Yari Esports have the lockdown up and ready, this is going to give them a good opportunity to just push the members of Bleak off the side. But it doesn't even matter because look, Bleak are completely off, and Waddle using the Hunter's Fury very, very aggressively. Managed to find some info, but not able to find the kill. Waddle to find the kill onto Jam, the opening. Now, as that fragment comes out, not able to push anyone away, but Yanto suppressed by Lorcan, and all Lime finds Yanto's head. Out comes the lockdown. Lime, it doesn't even matter that they're going to get pushed away because Lime's going to find themselves a kill.
I think this is the first time that we've seen these players in a post-plant position as well. Now is where the ults start coming forward, though. Lewis firing his off, and I mean, Lime going fast in through the smoke. The Phantom spraying forward. Jamie does find one, another one just hiding in the smoke. Bennett hiding through. Jamie doesn't even care, shoots him in the face. It's only Daki left. He's been flashed off. He's being faced by 4 players in front of him. And Lime getting his 3rd of the round.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'd be poor Daki. What can you do in that situation? You're backed up in a corner. You're like a rat in the cage, and you're blinded. You're suppressed. The kitchen sink's being thrown at you as well. I mean, yeah, it's just all she wrote. And well, 8-1 to Bleak.
I'm feeling a little bit sorry for some of these players at the moment. The way in which they're getting penned in. I mean the difference between the 2 teams as well. Watching it so far in this one, and of course it can be chalked up to just a little bit of kind of preparing and getting into the game properly. I imagine map 2 we'll see, and especially the second half as well, we'll see things get a little bit closer as we move forward. But the difference is that Bleak are really looking at the full picture, where Yari Esports are getting a little bit stuck on certain players in positions, really focusing, hyper-focusing really. When they spot one, they're going for that one and not really taking in the bigger picture where other players may be playing on the side.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I know Bleak, obviously, the big contender of this tournament, but that should not deter you in how you should be playing. You shouldn't be getting like too focused, because in those situations, especially against a team this good, hyper-focusing on just the small details going round by round, yeah, it can do you good, but if it's too much, they're just going to find the holes in the plan and they're just going to exit take advantage. And Jamie and Line finding nice 2 opening kills, and Yanto able to get the frag there.
Good trade, very good trade, and very vital for these players if they can find a little bit more. But Daki has watched his teammate die in front of him and not hitting the head on the killjoy in front. Jam does find that, and well, Sophie ends up dying as well. So a quick one, all things considered. And once again, I feel like we're going to be saying this a lot, Bleak win the round.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I mean, we've only had one opportunity to say Yari was taken around, and fingers crossed that we might have another opportunity, whether it's this map or the next one, we don't know. But Bleak are such a dominant force. They are a torrent in this, like this water, and Yari Esports, unfortunately, they're not able to get their head above it. They are finding themselves losing air, not able to breathe, and they are slowly plunging into the depths.
Yep. And they've not been punishing the operator purchase either. Obviously, when you're winning as many rounds as you are, it's pretty easy to keep pulling it out. But by having that operator, and he's been missing a fair few shots as Lime, it's they're not punishing it, and so he's able to bring it out every single round, which you'd want to get rid of it on a map like this.
100%, yeah. You want to, like, Lewis, he hasn't been showing the best using the operator, and so they should be taking that into account. They're pushing with multiple people onto him to get rid of him. Now, Ianto does pop the blade song. This is going to give him a lot of freedom. Dashes through. Oh, the operator shot is missing from Line. Jump peeks over, gets one. Walty and Daki finding kills of their own, and now it's a 4v2 situation. Yari Esports got the upper hand this time. As Jam is suppressed in the middle of markets, giving a lot of information. But look, you can see they are hanging back, waiting to rotate, and now as the recon comes out, Waddle finding a kill through generator. Vianto is there ready to just slice Akuno right between the eyes as Jam nearly finds Vianto, but able to dash away, but they are able to find Sophie. And then down they fall. Thrifty round for Yari Esports, really putting themselves into a good position now. A
good second one to pick up as well. When you look at a team that are losing 9-1, oftentimes confidence is the real big thing. That's the difference between the two teams. Really in the game, you'd expect them to have picked up more than a single round at this stage. So that's really the roadblock for them, getting that one on the board, especially a thrifty round like that. Well, hopefully it means that they can pick up a third and move from there. Pistol round comes up and things are really up in the open.
Exactly, yeah. This could be the start for Yari Sports to start building that momentum. So we have got one more round in this final half, and then we switch over the different sides. And now as the Blazestorm gets popped by Lewis, and so does the lockdown. That's a very, very early lockdown, and now as the paranoia comes out, we are going to see Yari Esports just quickly make the way onto site. That lockdown trying to force members away over to keep them within the lobby, but hasn't even deterred Yari Esports as they've just quickly taken site. And now as a spike has been planted from the shadows, is going to get popped. Jam finds the opening kill, and then Lewis is there. And oh my goodness, Jam and Lewis lighting up the kill feed. Now Walty, the only man standing, playing for post plan, and it doesn't even matter. A right click straight to the face, 5 kunais riddled into the body of Walty, and Bleak Esports put themselves 3 rounds away from taking map number 1.
Yeah, I didn't think that the lockdown had worked as they'd intended at the beginning, obviously trying to push them away, and I thought, you know what, they can just move back and plant the bomb in default spot, but they opted instead to plant it near heaven, and that was exactly what Bleak were thinking they were going to do. They really penned them in, they mentally penned them in into the under heaven position, and well, then they knew exactly where they all were, found them all, and they knew, of course, that the Sova would be as far back as possible just to spray that ult through the wall, so a really easy one for them to mop up in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was looking like I would assume that Yari Esports, they initially wanted to go for that fast, aggressive push because they haven't been doing many of that. So trying to change up the speed and their playstyle, trying to catch Bleak off guard, but that lockdown was a spanner in the works and it really grinded their gears. Now, as we're moving on to the attack, we will be seeing what could be a different Yari.
I mean, we've got to hope it's a different Yari because, well, they'll certainly be hoping it. with 8 rounds the difference between them. That would that's almost as many rounds as you would be hoping for them to get in a half.
Yeah.
As they sort of sit and play it slow here, Bleak, waiting for players to push them on the A or B bomb site and make Yari really be the ones that reveal their hand first.
Yeah, now Bleak just playing it very, very slowly. Slowly making the way over towards A site as Yari Esports, they are taking mid control, but look how many players have rotated through mid, over onto B. They have left Bennett just completely on the lonesome, and now it doesn't matter because Bennett is there to hold it down, but as they walk forward, Jamie's just going to be throwing a few bullets straight into Bennett. Yanto finds a lovely kill onto Jam. Jamie spotted out by the recon. Can they find another? No, unfortunately not. Lewis finding one, but going to get traded out by Daki, and Jamie's there for the retrade, and it's a 2v2 situation. Even Steven's spike is down, but it is on the site where Bleak is on, so it gives them an opportunity. That door has been closed, so they have got to close that down. Sophie is going to be notifying Waddle that they are there, and now Waddle is going to be quickly jumping through, and this is such an aggressive push. They both swing off together, and Walty misses the shots, manages to connect to the head, and now it's all up to Walty. 70 HP to what looks like 15. Yari Esports have the health advantage. Such a good recon, but they manage to slip away through the fingers. Sneaky, sneaky, like a ninja in the night. Waddle closes out the round, and that is really going to be stinging Yari Esports.
Almost the perfect recon bolt, but ends up falling in the favour of Bleak in the end because it bounces down, it ricochets onto the floor. It took its time, and Bleak could see it happening, so it just runs away and hides. And then it really is sort of a false flag for Yari Esports, who think the site's clear. They think that he's in towards door, move towards short, and well, I mean, we all saw what happened 11-2, and well, I think. Well, actually pretty disciplined, in fact, not to decide to just force out this round. Instead, a lot smarter to play it the way that they are, and that's a good play from Sophie, pushing aggressively, or as good as it could have gone, but, well, very quickly, I've got egg on my face because 2 players stay alive for Yari Esports now.
Good old cast the curse. Strikes again. Now Walty, once again, finding themselves in a bit of a deficit right now, the lone person, but they're going to be fighting. Jamie goes for the 316. Oh, Jamie, the disrespect. I know they had a Vandal, so they had the gun advantage, but they did not need to do Walty dirty like that. Now we go to match point.
I think we may be at the point here where this game's a little bit looser. Players are kind of just jumping around and doing kind of what they want to do because, yeah, I think both of these teams see this as a foregone conclusion, unless, of course, Yari Esports can pull together 10 rounds in a row. You reckon they've got it?
I mean,
the silence says it all.
I mean, I want to be the voice of optimism, but when your back is this so far up against the wall, pinned down, chained down, I mean, all you've got is your little pinky to try and lock that lock. And it could be that pinky going to be doing them justice. Ooh, as Yanto Daki. That pinky is coming in clutch because all of a sudden Bleak find themselves in a 1v5 situation. Waddle needs to ace this. Can they do it?
If anyone can do it, I think Waddle can. I mean, Bleak are looking so good at the moment as 4 players make their way in towards the site. I mean, Waddle just hiding, playing it a little bit slower, has been spotted out though by the Jet. And they do know that he's round this corner. The spray comes through, just missing that one ever so slightly and taking the damage through the wall, waiting for players to peek in. But Yanto not going to let that one stand. Waddle does fall, and the 1 versus 4's topped on his head straight away. Yari Esports picking a 3rd up of the game. And a 1st of the second half.
Exactly, yeah. Now this is 1 of 10 rounds that Yari Esports need to win in order to get themselves out. And now I think that pinky's probably gone to, I don't know, the next finger up, the ring finger. There we are. Yeah, they've still got their backs against the wall and not a lot of options in order to get forward, so they just need to take it round by round. I think when you're in this position, you just have to take every single little victory you can and capitalize on it. They need to play a near perfect game at this point, especially against Bleak. I mean, they are not going to be giving you a single room to breathe. I mean, that last round has given Yari Esports hope that they can take the rounds, but they're not out of it just yet.
Mentally, you have to look at it as let's just take this round, and then the next, then the next. You can't look at it as we're 9 down and this is it. Every single round is our last. You just play it slowly and really think it through, and that seems to be what Yari Esports are doing. Very grounded in their approach so far.
Yeah, and what a lovely opening kill from Lime, pushing solo down catwalk, and then Lime is there to get taken out by Ianto. And oh, what a shot onto Waddle, and Jam finds a lovely kill onto Waddle, but Sophie is there for the refrag. Yari Esports, they have got the man advantage, but that has just been swiftly equalized by Jamie.
Lovely play from each of these players. A little spray comes through from Ianto as well to find Lewis. It's only Jamie left who slowly teleports across the map to plant the bomb down on B, and it means that he is in an optimum position at this stage to play the 1 versus 2. Just waiting for players to peek into the angle, and Ianto and Sophie begin their push in very, very slowly together. And well, this turret should be able to catch out the player. Jamie has now been spotted in some way, but taking the 1 versus 2s, Ianto does get the kill. But the way that that was changed into 2 1 versus 1s actually made it very possible for Bleak to win that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know what they've been doing in between like the rounds, but whatever they've been saying, it's definitely working, because that is another round on the board. I mean, they are starting to take it round by round. I'm not going to say anything just yet, but Yari Esports, I think we're starting to see their potential as a team starting to show through in these rounds. We're starting to see what they're capable of. It's just that Bleak just never gave them an opportunity to do it. Yeah,
certainly, and disciplined as well. Lime thinking there about buying the op. You could see it in the way that he took his time to get that buy-in, instead going for the Vandal and full armor. But your boy Lewis, already down on just the Sheriff, obviously can do incredible damage with it, but important one to watch in this as we see a full buy come out for Yari Esports on the other side of things.
Yeah, now the North Clan coming out, so we are going to be back to CSGO, your home ground, as KO's popped that ultimate. Everyone is suppressed, so it's just going to be straight gunfights, and Lime and Waddle find one apiece, and down goes Jam. Daki's there to take out Lime. 3v3 situation. Fragment comes out, and oh my goodness, Daki's going to be feeling that one in the morning as his face just gets bapped by the Sheriff. The Blaze is coming out from Ianto, finds the kill onto Waddle. 2v2 situation. It's all even Stevens, but now it's a 1v2. Bleak all of a sudden finding themselves in the precarious situations where one member is up against multiple of Yari Esports. Now as the Cloudburst comes out trying to distract Lewis, the pincer attack. Really, really well timed from Bennett there, swinging off Ianto. They played that really, really well.
It was like they knew exactly what position he would be in, and it wouldn't surprise me if they'd anti-stratted that. They knew that this is exactly where he liked to play, because watching them come forward, it was perfectly timed to peek into him simultaneously. The Jet making the noise, and of course, then pushing forward on the second one to find that headshot, find the round, and I think that puts the T side in a bit of... actually, I take it back. Their economy seems to be pretty standard across it, where they're buying Vandals and the single Sheriff basically every single round at this point.
Yes, yeah, so they've still got, you know, they've got just enough money in the bank to make sure that they've got some weapons, and we do see Jamie pulling out the Judge, and it looks like they are going to be sticking to it. On attack, that is a very, very interesting choice. I absolutely hate the Judge. It's just a disgusting weapon in my personal opinion. But the quick paranoia coming out, Ianto finding a very, very quick kill onto Jam. All of a sudden, the members of Bleak are starting to fall down like flies. The recon bolt coming out, able to find some information, but information is all they got. Now Bleak making a very, very fast rotate straight through mid into tree. They're going to try and take command of A side, but Bennett is there by Generator, ready and waiting for when they come through. But it doesn't even matter because Lime is there to shut him down, and now as the spike is being planted, it's a 4v4 situation. Ianto holding a lovely little angle, sees the gun barrel, waiting for them to come out, but thanks to that Hunter's Fury, just one bolt of the Hunter's Fury repositioned and forced Ianto to go up, and now the kill feed is starting to light up green though. But Jamie with the Judge coming around through the back, finding 2 kills of their own, but Sophie is there to clean up house.
What a clean round from Yari Esports at the very end. It was back and forth for a lot of it, but the way that they managed to bring it back was impressive of them, and of course getting that bomb defused. It's not looking as one-sided as it once was. I mean, the scoreline, if you looked at this after the game and you went through it, you wouldn't think that we'd seen what we'd seen. I think if you looked through the rounds, you'd be quite shocked, because yeah, some of the Yari Esports players coming alive a lot more. I mean, you can see Ianto especially has really shown up in this second half and is looking very good on Jet.
100%, yeah. Ianto is really starting to shine. I just want to quickly go back to that play where Yari Esports were up there on Heaven. Waddle used their Hunter's Fury, forcing Ianto to updraft because Lewis knew that he'd been spotted. So being forced up in the air, your accuracy is going to be absolutely terrible, and gives Lewis Lime a free kill. And now speaking of Lime getting a free kill, that's a free kill onto Sophie as a kunai just goes straight in, and oh my goodness, from the shadows in the nick of time just to teleport out of there, an absolute slither of health, just breathing on Bennett is just going to send them into the shadow realm. And Ianto finds one, Daki finds Lime. This is looking really, really good for Yari. I say that, Caster's Curse once again, biting me in the backside as well. Finds Ianto. Now all the utilities having to be coming out as Daki finds Lewis. Shock Dart coming out onto Daki, managing to get some tags, taking away a little bit of help. And now the flashpoint coming out, trying to just throw out the flash. 0 point coming out, suppressing Waddle. And Jamie is all on the lonesome in the back of Boathouse. Finds one, finds two. Can they find three? Not able to connect with that shot. Now it's a 1v2. Oh, Walty, 1v1, having to defuse the spike. And oh, they do not have enough time. No, that is it. And Yari Esports fall at the hands of Bleak. 13-6. Map number 1 goes to Bleak.
What a way to lose it at the end there as well. It looked like they just got it, and then that Sheriff playing on backside, finding those kills. Unlucky, of course, not to find the final one, just whiffing a little bit at the very end. But they've got a right to whiff at that stage, right? 12-6 up, they can do what they want.
Exactly. They've got so many rounds that they can just play with, and they've just closed it out. And honestly, that was such a dominant performance from Bleak. I mean, just looking from what I saw on paper, I knew Bleak are the favourites, but my goodness, I was not expecting a showing like that. No, and I think one of the best things as well about that entire game was being able to sit so comfortably as we were sitting through it. Of course, the Noble chairs that we are sat in now, brought to you, of course, by Noble Chairs with their sponsorship. I got to say, lovely to sit in these chairs. I know, it's such a good chair to sit in. I mean, I wish if I had the funds, I'd get one of my own. But one can dream. But we're going to quickly go to a 5-minute break as we come back to our next map. So do not miss anything. So make sure you're staying in chat. Hydrate yourself. It is a warm day, but that does not mean you are immune to dehydration. So hydrate yourself, and we'll see you back very, very shortly.